Welcome to Admiral Teag's Defense of Batman. Please like or follow this channel if you enjoy the presentation.
I am vengeance. I am the knight. I am Batman!
Oh, hello there. Thanks for stopping by. It's your buddy, Admiral Teag. And who would have thought it, but we've gotten to the point where Batman needs our help. Now, we have an American Batman again, which is nice, you know, that's nice, but what's more important is we also have a British Batman out there, and possibly two different Batman franchises running at the same time, if not more. So Batman doing better than he has been in a long time, but really taking a beating this week. First, we lost Kevin Conroy, the animated Batman's voice of so many years, and the real Batman to a generation of Batman fans. Since the 90s, what an incredible run, and we all know that he brought a lot to the role of animated Batman. One of the greatest voices of all voice actors, so well suited to his role, and that's a bummer. Gone too young at 66. But now also we find out that the TV show that won't go, or the TV network, I guess, that won't go away. We canceled it off regular TV. We kicked them off YouTube, and they just keep resonating around. They have an issue with our pal Batman, and this was broken by Clownfish TV, who've been all over it. And everyone should sub Clownfish TV because they're great. And this is from Clownfish 18 hours ago, and as of now, by your time, it's 11/16/22 at about 3:30. They're reporting now about a show called Spawncast After Show, where Miss Click broke some news about how when she'd been offered a G4 hosting slot, the questions they asked her were so weird that she decided not to take the job because it sounded like crazy bullshit. And man, was her bullshit detector ever set to 100% accurate. Listen to this as Neon and Geeky Sparkles tell us.
About the late actor Kevin Conroy, R.I.P.,
right,
and his contribution to the voice of Batman. This was interrupted by Miss Click asking if it was okay to discuss something related now that G4 TV was no longer around.
G4 TV, the first G4 may be pretty good, but not in any way missed by anyone the way we saw it last.
During the show, Miss Click went on to talk about what she meant. I was already sus of G4 TV. During the interview process, they offered me a host position where you have...
So Miss Click, while she has 20/20 hindsight, this story does seem to bail her out.
To relocate to LA. So I go through the interview process, and the guy that was interviewing me goes, "Why should we cancel Batman? Why do you believe we should cancel Batman?" And I was like, "Why are we canceling Batman?" And he said, "Because he's rich and he's white."
By the way, I want to say right now, as far as the credibility of this, I believe Miss Click because it's so insane and so random and sounds so corporate that I don't think anyone could make it up. It defies me. If she wrote this, she should be given an SNL writer job, if nothing else, if this is a hoax, because this is a crazy question, and it's also well within the wheelhouse of believable, especially with some of the crap we heard from G4.
People believe that he just skates on the law, and that if someone of color did the same thing, they wouldn't get away with it.
It was probably an ethnic white dude who said it, too.
It was a white dude. Yeah.
So there you have the story from Clownfish, and they go on at length about it, and they cover it great, because Clownfish is great. And you know what? Not everybody loves Batman. For instance, our pal, the Peacemaker.
You want to know why I don't have a coterie of supervillains?
Why?
My coterie of supervillains is 6 feet fucking under.
There, you see? Batman doesn't kill people.
Because he's a pussy.
He's a
wow.
dark creature of the night.
He's a
wow. Peacemaker just driving his point right home there.
jackass who wrestles with murderers dressed like clowns and throws them in prison so they can break out of prison and then murder more people. Riddle me.
All right, so that's the argument against Batman, and no one makes it better than Peacemaker, but my pal and probably decent worthy sub Gabe, who has 1,000 looks like maybe 150,000 subscribers. So way to go, Gabe. My hat's off to you. Maybe it's 1.4 million, but Gabe has he's had a few words about Batman in good faith about 2 years ago, and I think Gabe is all right. I don't think he's saying any of these things from a bad place. But since
so I've had this same
since Batman has been taking a beating, I'm going to defend him a little bit. And so, devil's advocate against Superman, in all good faith, just for good fun, is Gabe. And we're going to let Gabe wind up his argument from the very beginning. Here we go.
All right, so I've had this same conversation over the years. It always comes up because people really overvalue this person. They're super overrated, and it's Batman, right?
So this is his main hypothesis. Batman is overrated.
Is literally the most underpowered superhero in the world. He's a good detective at that. That's pretty much it. He does great cop work. But we herald this character. Well, I don't, but some people herald this character as the alpha, the omega. Let's be real here, right? We're not talking about writing
openly
We're talking about the character
here.
itself, right? Compared to other characters and him dealing with issues all the time.
Batman's pretty emotionally damaged, and some people make too much of it, but I mean, I don't know, over 90 years we've seen him be good too. I don't know, Peacemaker, what do you think?
How many people you think Batman's indirectly murdered by being too much of a candy ass not to kill these fools who clearly need to be smoked once and for all, you rink?
Well, I mean, Peacemaker does have a point, although we've seen that he's too much of an extremist with his idea for it to ever work either. But back to Gabe. Gabe is making his opening argument.
The most number one things people say is Batman with prep time can beat anybody. And I think that is like complete BS. It's also a cop-out to always...
All right, so his first point is that Batman is not a first strike, first encounter winner in almost any movie. Basically, Batman fails the first time, comes at you the second time in a kind of a probing attack, where he tests a theory or comes up with a theory that he has gear for in the third attack where he finally beats you. We see this in Batman 89 and even in BVS.
They say like, oh yeah, he's Batman, he can do it. How many times have you heard that? He's Batman, he can figure it out. He's
Oh, since it's like an 80-year-old character, I mean, maybe you're kind of putting the cart in front of the horse or something like that, or the cart next to the horse. I mean, Batman level of ingenuity has its own meaning that was already like 30 years old when Star Trek came around.
Batman, he can do anything. He's Batman. So let's break down why Batman is the most overrated character of all time, and you just have to get over it. First off, for someone who always has a plan, who's always prepared for any scenario at any given time of any given hour and every given day, this man can't seem to figure out petty crime in his own city.
I would say that he needs to sleep and stuff, and there's only so many hours in a day, and even though he's Bruce Wayne, there's only so much money he can have at his supply of limitless money without working to make more money, right? I mean, at some point, Bruce Wayne has to function just a little as the head of Wayne Corp, even if it is just doing some really good hiring.
Like, you've seen Batman get touched by common criminals before. They've gotten their licks in. Like, Batman...
That's part of why Batman is kind of cooler than some other superheroes in a way, or at least has different aspect to him than a lot of other superheroes. You can kill him with a bullet from a gun.
He's been pieced up. He's not infallible in combat, even though he has like over 1,000 martial arts and he's at the peak of human conditioning. The peak of human conditioning is not like as great in comic book and writing standpoint. Sure, he can bench press 1,000 pounds.
I don't know. Have we ever heard numbers that high? But I mean, maybe Batman could press north of 300. I would imagine if you looked at Bruce Wayne, you would be unable to know he wasn't in really good shape and a big guy, and why he wouldn't be on the short list for people suspected of being Batman is beyond me, but let's keep going.
A grizzly bear will yoke Batman up, but we're not talking about...
A grizzly bear, if Batman is like stunned and walking around in the woods and gets jumped by the bear, maybe, but I think Batman might be possessive of sufficient armor that if the bear, say, took a swipe at him, if Batman goes flying, he has a chance to recover and maybe get up a tree pretty easy while he waits out the bear or drives it off with some sort of, some batarangs or a flashbang. Batman has flashbangs and stuff a lot.
About reality, we're talking about comic books, right? We're talking about the things he has to deal with. Let's look at his lineup of villains. And this tells you everything you need to know about why Batman is a joke. Okay, so
Batman has some of the more interesting villains, but let's see what his take is on them.
So if we think of Batman's main villains, right? Who we got? We got Joker.
Joker is pretty formidable. He's a criminal genius who has absolutely no scruples and is putting together ingenious murderous plans with super high stakes.
Raj Al Ghul.
Raj Al Ghul is basically inverse Batman.
We got the Riddler.
The Riddler has assets.
We got Bane.
Bane is basically just kind of another reverse or inverse Batman. Cobblepot, of course, the Penguin.
Two-Face, Scarecrow.
Two-Face,
Those are the most
Scarecrow.
iconic ones, right? But as this goes on and on and on, you got like Black Mask, Brother Eye, Calculator, Calendar Man, Deadshot.
Now, this is an interesting take on Deadshot.
Most legit one he's got, Killer.
That's a little bit interesting that he thinks Deadshot's the most legit villain, but I don't know. Deadshot got into a movie, so.
Croc. Batman runs into Killer Croc in the suit's the wrong hour. Batman is 100% getting yoked up. The League of Assassins, Mr. Freeze, legitimate threat. Solomon Grundy, legit.
Freeze has a serious Achilles heel, and Solomon Grundy, he's got some problems too that limit his ability to really menace Batman. He's kind of misrepresenting the idea that a lot of these villains have areas where they're stronger or places and situations they set up where you have to deal with them on their terms rather than on your terms or even terms. And if you have to deal with the Joker on even terms, like he's no match for Batman. And if you have to deal with a grizzly bear on even terms, Batman's no match for it. But if you put in things like wit, Batman can outwit the Joker, or the Joker could outwit Batman.
Legitimate threat for Batman. Talia Al Ghul. First of all, like a good 80%
Talia Al Ghul is pretty tempting and pretty dangerous.
of this roster you barely ever see, right? So the main ones have already been highlighted. Okay, so a dude named Cobblepot, who is a short penguin-looking dude, is a villain for you. He has an umbrella that shoots things, and
so you can see here that he has not a whole lot of respect for our pal Batman, and let's just say having a well-developed rogues gallery, and here's our pal Gabe, having a well-developed rogues gallery that's kind of respectable. How is that any sort of a drawback? I mean, Batman, sort of ready for anything. Let's let him go on. I'm taking it back a few seconds so we can get the gist of what my pal Gabe is saying. In good faith, 2 years ago. He's not spiking the football on Kevin Conroy or anything. We're just taking this chance to stick up for Batman. G4 is no longer around, but I guess we can kick him around a little bit. Fuck them for what they said and how they hired people. And I don't know what it says about their host. You're still, unless you're Frosk or Sessler, I guess it doesn't say much about you that you work there. It's just that you wanted a job, and maybe you sniffed out this weird question and answered it right. In pursuit of your own financial gain, telling the employer what they want to hear to get a job is one thing. It's if that agenda extended into your work. But it seems to me that this vetting question, which is a weird-ass vetting question, the Clownfish filled us in on, this might have been designed to keep objective people out.
legitimate threat. Solomon Grundy, legitimate threat for Batman. Talia Al Ghul. First of all, like a good 80% of this roster you barely ever see, right? So the main ones have already been highlighted.
Alright, there are a bunch of other more petty criminals, but sometimes Batman plays for lower stakes.
Okay, so a dude named Cobblepot, who is a short penguin-looking dude, is a villain for you. He has an umbrella that shoots things, and that is somebody...
Hey, a flamethrower shaped like an umbrella is still a fucking flamethrower, Gabe. Come on.
You have to deal with on the regular. He's constantly causing mayhem in your city. Then you got, which is I think the funny...
think of what you chose to say. He is constantly causing mayhem in your city. And I don't know if the Penguin is... You're calling the Penguin petty? He usually has, you know, a decent-sized posse, and he's got, you know, a few umbrellas and a couple of, you know, other wacky pieces of tech to throw at you, as well as sometimes an army of lobotomized penguins.
Funniest one. This is just a dude who tells riddles. He tells riddles, man. Yo, let's look up some riddles. Hard riddles. We got. All right, here's a riddle.
Okay.
I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with wind. What?
All right, I guess it's wind chimes, but the thing is, okay, this is not Tolkien. What do you want from the writers? I mean, point well taken. I guess what you're really doing is admitting it's hard to write for Batman because he's kind of got a complex set of nemesis. I don't know.
I'm not gonna say Batman can't figure it out, right? Because it's just a basic. I'm pretty sure the riddle is coming up with like way more complicated things. That right there could fuck up your whole week. Everything
All right, so an admission.
you're doing in Gotham can be destroyed by just a riddle. That is a.
No, there's always a threat behind the riddle because people are in fear of what the hell the riddle might mean. And usually it has two meanings. We've seen some well-written riddles.
Real threat for you. A guy in green tights with question marks with a question mark cane tell.
If your costume makes you ridiculous, we could start a list right now. If your costume negates your abilities, we could make a list right now. So maybe we don't want to go down that road.
Riddles. What? Then we can get to the most iconic one, right? Because let's not even get into Bane, the roided up luchador, because he's just really bright. He's Batman intellectual, equal or superior in his own universe, and he's pieced him up, right? Let's talk about Joker, the failed comedian.
I don't know why the fact that Bane has beaten on Batman and the fact that so many of these villains that Batman takes on, so many of these enemies are a match for him. I mean, Superman has a problem with you've got to find someone who is a match for him because he's fucking Superman. I mean, and I like Superman, but in this calculus, the things that you're saying make Batman dull. They're more like writing challenges, to be honest, Gabe. And, you know, I take your good faith argument with, you know, a grain of salt. And I know we're just having fun here, and I don't think you mean much by it.
He tells bad jokes, right? But no, the thing about Joker is he's unpredictable.
He's also highly murderous.
You mean to tell me that this man, Bruce Wayne, Batman, can have plans to stop the Flash, right? Because apparently Batman's got the keys to everybody in the Justice League, right? Martian Manhunter, Superman, the Flash, who moves faster than the speed of light tens of thousands of times, who literally has his own dimension of speed he can run in, whose brain also operates on the same speed hardware, right? He is speed. He is Lightning McQueen. You have plans for that guy who can end anything you've ever done.
This makes sense, though.
Like before the neuron sends the signal to your brain that's happening, you're already gone. But this dude, the Joker, you can't figure out. He escapes Arkham Asylum like every week, and he's ruining your city. The people have no respect because you can't figure out this one problem. They're gonna say, "Oh, but."
All right, Gabe has one here. I mean, the Peacemaker's with Gabe, so Gabe scores. You know, what can I say? Right through the 5-hole.
You know, Batman, his solution to the Joker would be to kill him, but if he kill him, he'd be given what the Joker wants. Stop it.
No, really, I agree here, although we can't just get rid of the Joker. He's too fucking awesome of a villain, but I mean, it's a 90-year back and forth antagonism. We've rebooted a bunch of times and have infinite Earths, but you know, you could make this argument, and he's just having fun here. Gabe's not, I don't think, going after anything larger, and we're about halfway through.
Stop it, stop it. If you want to solve crime in your own city, get rid of the person who's causing it. Dude, his sidekicks. This guy is the worst father figure ever. Like, how many Robins we've been through? What happened to Barbara Gordon? He can't even watch kids, but we expect him to watch over a city. We expect him to be the guy we call.
I guess his father figure's pretty bad, but you know, he's got other people in his world he has to deal with. He's got some great theme music, right? He's Batman. He's got batarangs. And then there's this part.
Where's the Joker?
He sounds great. I mean, Batman, he's still cool, right? I mean, so what? He's singularly obsessed with the Joker. Peacemaker, Peacemaker says the same exact thing.
Break out of prison and then murder more people. Riddle me this. How many people you think Batman's indirectly murdered by being too much of a candy ass not to kill these fools who clearly need to be smoked once and for all, you wrinkly, Shar-Pei-looking dimension-infested...
Wow. Okay, so both of these guys think I'm wrong. Gabe, go on.
On a moment's notice to take care of the problems, like, oh, if the Justice League is getting clapped, call Batman, he'll figure it out. He can't...
You know, if Batman's not well used in Justice League stories, we gotta blame the writers.
Even babysit. Now, despite the fact that Bruce Wayne cannot deal with petty crime in his own city, he hasn't figured that out. Like, you know,
That's
grand
a
larceny
little
happens every
unfair.
day in Gotham. You know,
I mean,
people
that's a little unfair. It's supposed to be a crime-ridden city. There's not an army of clones. You know, in the other pantheon over at Marvel, like, what happened when Stark did that and we ended up with Ultron? That caused nothing but problems.
getting mugged left and right, stores are getting robbed, people getting stabbed, you know, a clown runs around.
But that's why he becomes Batman, Gabe.
A guy who tells riddles is crazy. A penguin dude is like. Besides that, that's just like the fragility of the character is also just another thing that we just seem to gloss over.
We don't. Well, some filmmakers do gloss over it. Zack Snyder just really doesn't put enough time into showing you how vulnerable Batman is at all. Joss Whedon tried to do that in Justice League, but that's just not a great movie at all. And you know, I guess the Snyder Cut's the better movie in that one, but that's just, you know, a confused Justice League movie for all its merits.
Over, right? And I love when people bring up the Superman versus Batman conversation, and that's always been like the bulk of like what me and my best friend Jordan, we've had these conversations.
Well, I mean, Superman's got a lot of edges on Batman, but Batman, you know, I would just point out that in the most prominent example, Batman versus Superman, if Batman had pressed his advantage, he had some assets that really could have destroyed Superman. Like, for instance, if he had and he had a ton of kryptonite in that movie. He was having so much success with that kryptonite fart gas, and he just did not use it as much as he could have. And Superman, conversely, could have just, you know, used his eye lasers to mess up Batman's Dark Knight armor that he uses to take Superman on, which at least Zack Snyder did show us that Batman techs up and has a plan, and that was a cool looking and sounding Batman, if nothing else, in that movie.
It's like you're really talking about a man versus a god, not some normal, like Superman pretends.
Well, Superman doesn't pretend to be one of us, he feels it in his heart.
To be one of us, right?
I believe that Superman in his heart is an Earthling who has a lot of powers. That's how he sees himself. He sees himself as an Earthling. He knows he's a Kryptonian, but like he sees himself as a person, a citizen of Earth, and a protector of Earth.
He's always Superman. He doesn't have to put on a costume to yoke you up. Batman has to put on a
I'm not seeing how this is as big of a deal, but let's let Gabe go.
Costume and get his utility belt and all his gadgets. Batman needs his money. Superman don't need his money. And granted, he may need
That's true, though, but Batman, you know, using the money for the right thing.
his son, whatever, but he's just always Superman.
All right, so, you know, I'm sorry, Gabe, but your Green New Deal Superman case for Superman just isn't that great. I mean, all right, so Batman, you know, capitalist, Superman, a green superhero. I don't know if I even, I guess you win that one for what it's worth.
There's no like Clark Kent, none of that. He's just always Superman, period.
What the hell does that
we've
mean?
seen that in
What the hell does that
in
mean?
Zack Snyder's Superman, certainly going by Kal-El and thinking of himself as an alien first. But I would point out that though he is familiar to us because he's around for a while, the Zack Snyder Superman is, you know, he's an outlier, and they're about to kind of retool that Superman. And let's see how he feels about himself, and if he goes around telling people I'm Kal-El, or just saying, you know, hey, come on, call me Clark if you're gonna know my real name.
And I love how people big up Batman's intelligence to be like the greatest thing ever, right? He's the smartest person in DC, or at least in the Justice League, to the point that he has solutions for everybody. And as we just pointed out a second ago, the man can't even solve petty crime in his own city.
All right, I mean, that again, so you're reiterating that point, fair enough, but I feel that my rebuttal stands. There's just a lot of crime.
Keep bringing that up, but he is able to beat Superman, right? Because he's able to outthink him. Okay, so people...
Gabe is onto something here, because in the movie The Batman, the Batman only kind of manages a draw, sort of. Like, he beats the bad guys and stuff, some of them, but a good 1/3 or more of his city gets totally trashed. So that Batman, that movie wasn't so bad, but that Batman, like, he didn't have enough success to really make me look up to him. Like, I didn't feel like anyone was safe but him.
People like to downplay Superman's intelligence all the time. Like, Superman's an idiot.
the hell does that
But I mean, let's blame that on Matt Reeves, and let's hear what he has to say about Superman now. I mean, we all know Superman is super smart. He also can probably think a little faster than us. He can move faster than us. I don't know.
He can't do Batman. Okay, Superman gave Batman a kryptonite ring to deal with Superman in case Superman got crazy and went off the chain. Batman would be able to stop him, right?
Which shows they're both benevolent.
Okay, so you mean to tell me that if Superman has decided, you know what, I'm done taking care of this planet is trash, I'm here to square up. That's it, Batman, we going down. You mean...
We saw this kind of bad Superman in the nightmare world of the Zack Snyder movies, and, you know, who wouldn't have wanted someone to stop him?
To tell me right now that Superman is gonna get in like any like vicinity of Batman knowing he has kryptonite? Bro, I can be anywhere on Earth.
All right, but you said Batman's got great detective skills. That includes shadowing people without them knowing it. So Batman's gonna get the drop on Superman one way or another. He's gonna find a way. He'll distract him. He'll create so much noise that Superman won't be able to hear him. He'll do something. Batman is clever.
Earth, and I can hear your heartbeat. Like if you got trapped under rubble and you couldn't call for help, who you call?
See, Batman would find a way to conceal his heartbeat. He would find a way, or to disguise it.
You calling Superman?
Look. Or create a bunch of drones with his heartbeat and send them to several different places to confuse Superman's abilities. He's, you know, Batman. He's got quite the intellect. Come on.
Help me. Like, are you calling for me to come get you? My breath can freeze you. I can give you pneumonia with I can make you have hypo.
This is a problem with Superman, though, as far as making his, creating enemies for him and having Batman be the more believable person as far as stakes go. We have a glass cannon versus the Man of Steel.
Hypothermia just by going. I have laser beams that burn as hot, if not hotter, than the sun. I have
that's a real issue in Man of Steel.
To shave with those laser beams because my hair is that much better than you. Like it's
that's always been a cool thing about Superman, watching him shave with his laser beam eyes.
That strong that I have to shave with laser beams, heat vision that burns hot or hotter than the sun. Not only that, I can just look at you, use my X-ray vision. Look.
So yeah, Superman's got a lot going for him as far as, you know, just natural gifts. He doesn't need money, so what?
Right through your eyes, and that one little fat part of your brain, Bruce, that part right there that handles all executive thought, the prefrontal cortex, whatever you want. I
don't remember Superman doing this, but he's showing it, so it's true.
Can just cut it out with my heat vision, and you're just not. Who are you? You can't make decisions anymore. You're a vegetable.
Yeah, that would be evil, though, man. Like he would. That's evil a little bit.
Now you're done. Before I don't even have to lay hands on you. I don't. I could just go beat up Alfred.
But Batman, like, and let's get something out of the way here. This whole Batman doesn't kill. If you put yourself in a lot of jeopardy, and you're trying to kill Batman while he's trying to save people, and you end up doing something with fatal implications, Batman's not going to save you. And Batman will punch you off of, you know, I don't know, a ledge if you're in his... If it comes down to saving other people and you're a baddie trying to get them killed, Batman, you know, we see him kill henchmen.
And now you're depressed. And then my favorite scenario, which is like Jordan...
At the very least, Batman has no regard for what your bad actions bring upon you if you're trying to stop him from helping people.
Came up with this, and it's just so funny when you think about it, is that Batman's got to sleep, right? Like he can't just stay up all the time, even though he's trained his body to be able to run on as little sleep as possible. Eventually he has to sleep, right?
All right.
Let's say it's 2 a.m. Batman's gonna go lay down. He's gonna take like an hour, 2-hour power nap, right?
Okay.
Get his energy back. What is Batman gonna do if Superman decides to just fly into space at 2 a.m. and start throwing meteors at Earth?
Ooh. I mean, the people of Earth would start nuking Superman, and we've seen that that'll at least make him comatose for a while.
What plan does Batman have for that? Logically tell me that in the comments. What does he have for that at 2?
He needs an hour to get to some sort of vehicle to get into space. Yeah, I mean, okay, valid. I mean, there's no overcoming this one.
2 a.m., 2:01 a.m. when he's getting to that deep REM because now he's falling out. What does he have when meteors start being thrown at Gotham? Or granted, I could just not throw meteors. I could just move the Earth 2 centimeters, 2 inches, and now you got solar radiation.
I don't know that. Could Superman do that?
Winds, all this is coming down. The ozone layer is being torn apart just by moving it a centimeter, a decalead, whatever it is, decameter, or the smallest unit of measurement. Everything is screwed. The axis is turned over. I could go destroy all your businesses, and now you have no money. How are you?
You know, as the Earth turns and on its axis, it wobbles a little, and we get summer and winter in the northern and southern hemisphere, and that's a difference of a couple hundred miles, like from your point in space from the sun. You know, from say mid-August to February. You know, there's a real difference of quite a bit more than he's making up for here. He's a little wrong on his science, and also I don't know, man. Superman able to do this? Leave me a comment.
Funding. Where's your superpower at now? You're a cop who has a lot of money. Where's your superpower at? It's gone. Like if Batman were to catch
he never had a superpower.
A kidney stone. If he was to catch a kidney stone, yo, his whole week is ruined. My man has to eat. I don't have to eat. I run off the sun.
Batman would gut out any pain, but okay, I mean, I guess.
Eat to make you feel comfortable at dinner. You can't go more than 30 days without water. I don't even need water. He could tear.
I would say as much as he's scoring points on Batman is much more fragile than Superman, you're sort of building a case that Superman does this just cause at no risk. You know, Batman, he's got a lot on the line.
His ACL running the wrong way.
But that's speaking to my point.
Whole career done. You know, he's got to take some time on the sideline.
No, he would have some sort of weird exoskeleton. I mean, he's Batman.
And do some physical therapy. Call the Bronze coach or whatever. Trainers take care of him and just like.
True, we've seen Batman have to take a couple of years off, but that always seems to be linked with some depression or somebody dying that he cared about.
Get like a massage gonna work that out. He's so frail, and there's so many instances of him being frail. All right, so during the week,
that's part of the Batman character.
Josh, some more evidence to add to Batman being the frailest has come out and has been revealed to me via comic book strip. So let's get into that.
Let's get into that.
So pretty much when I look at this is just showing you how Batman gets sun on the regular. You got Superman here and all he says is, and speaking of which, it's time we left as well.
Alright, so he's referencing a comic book. It looks like a pretty old one. This could be from the 70s or before.
He puts the cape on Batman like he's his son, and then literally scoops him up, flies off, and then Batman's just like, bye.
It looks a bit goofy, but hey, maybe Batman had tanked a lot of damage, I don't know.
This is like literally your father coming to pick you up from school at 3 p.m. after you're done, and just like, come on, son, let's go home.
Batman does look pretty bad in that isolated incident, but that's outlier for how we really view Batman, is it not?
Will never catch Superman being carried as hard as Batman is, and that is the metaphor for this. Batman gets carried religiously 365 days a year. Like, let's just bring up when he was getting clapped by Villainess.
I don't know where he's going with this one. Excuse me.
That's going
I don't get it.
to cost you a living.
I gotta watch out for the copyright gods. He had made this a while ago when the rules were different. So, alright, we're showing Batman getting a rib snap back into place.
Let's bring up when Captain Atom just walked up to him and just said, boom, dead.
Alright, I mean, but again, Batman's got more at stake.
Boom, you're dead again. Boom, boom, boom. Where was the plan for that? If he just really committed to that right then and there, what were you doing?
Alright, I mean, again, valid, but Batman, I don't know, pretty hyper-aware, pretty paranoid, and pretty isolated. Also,
Right,
I
so it's
mean,
actually-
pretty hard to track.
Watch like that, man.
Thinks he's the greatest superhero in the universe. 'Cause it's true.
He might have something here, but, you know.
Boom. You're dead. You're dead again. Boom, boom, boom.
Alright, so there are people who are tougher than Batman.
That's all it would take.
We're at about 80% of the way through here with Gabe's,
The best part about this for me is just like
Gabe's
the
case
sequence of
against Batman.
getting clowned.
again, a lot of stuff here that I don't know that is still allowed to be played in sequence, like at this length. Certainly we're trying to transform it as much as we can here.
Oh, this one right here, my man.
So he's just showing various scenes of Batman getting smoked from the animated series.
Weather. Oh.
All right, so he's definitely mocking Batman here, pretty big time. He's going for it here. He's using all the evidence he has.
She's flying through space and he's just put on a suit.
All right, so he's just laughing out loud here.
This is like full Dragon of Batman.
He is just going at it.
Like, what are you doing? She's like just dropping buildings on you left and right. Like, what are you doing?
It's a lot of video, and I'm a little worried about me here getting struck. So you can see he's
He's telling
laughing.
me he's weaving that? Telling me his grappling hook moves that fast?
So I'm
Bro,
transforming
crush.
him, transforming this. So
Crush.
maybe I'm okay,
I
right?
love this thing so much because it is such a very aware piece on how trash Batman. We're talking about a man.
Is he trash? I mean, that's a little strong. I mean, I think you're using it in good fun. I'm not going to go after Gabe. Let me just read here. Gabe has gotten 22,000 views on this, so he's doing better than the Admiral. But why Batman is overrated? All the time, people say Batman is the greatest, he's the best. Really, only Batman simps think Bruce is actually the best, and I'm tired of it. I wouldn't say Batman's the best. I'd say one of the things that makes Batman so enjoyable is that he stands toe-to-toe with people like Superman. I mean, you've had to compare him to Superman and other, what do we call them, meta-humans? And Batman is just a human being with money.
Arthritis is a very real problem for him. His joints? You telling me them joints is good? He's taking a lot of falls, a lot of beat.
We see this in older Batman. He's got real evidence for this, so.
You seen Old Man Wayne? You need that cane. Peak physical human condition ain't lasting that long, is it? I think we just...
Alright, so he's using the Batman Beyond sort of thing. Well, what can I tell you? He does not like Batman at all.
I think as we go on, like, and really think of this character and understand, we've allowed ourselves to believe that this dude in tights is the answer for everything in any comic book scenario, anime scenario, video game scenario. And we've allowed these writers and certain fans to convince us that this very mortal man who can catch a kidney stone, he's got to have...
But this is not necessarily something that makes him boring to read about. It just means he's weaker than Superman, which I don't think I'm going to argue with you.
Have fiber, can get constipated, micronutrients.
really getting into all your thoughts on digestion here, but okay, good enough.
Needs smoothies to keep himself going. He needs to constantly stretch or his muscles are getting tight. Arthritis is a very real thing for him. Tendonitis is a very real thing for him.
Not until he's older and more messed up, but alright, yeah, we see it enough.
He could catch Alzheimer's. This person right here is a joke. But that's just the...
That's a little too far. Now, Gabe, that's a little too far. I don't know if you could call Batman a joke. This is contemptuous of Batman, and at this point, I no longer think that you're doing this in good faith. I think you set out to take down Batman. Now, I don't think that you had the same reasons G4 did. I think you plain old hate Batman, and you think that he's just kind of overshadowing Superman for no reason. But I'd say, you know, it takes both to stop a couple of these threats that we encounter. And certainly they have a complicated relationship, and Superman, by nature, a little more boring and difficult to make a story about, you know, that's interesting. I mean, you need a coalition of bad guys. We know, when is Superman really looking like he's going to lose? Superman 2, when he takes on several Supermen, or Man of Steel, when all the Kryptonians come at him at once? And we'll talk about how their power scale versus his, and how the Earth's atmosphere affecting them versus him doesn't make sense another time. But, you know, let's let this guy wrap up here. Gabe really just not a fan of Batman at all, or Bruce Wayne.
Theory. A game theory. Let me know what you think about Batman in the comment section below. Do you think I'm dragging it too hard? Are there any real scenarios where you think
You are dragging it too hard. There are real scenarios where Batman would be able to at least outthink Superman to a draw. He's still Superman.
Batman comes out on top and he actually...
might not... He might come out on top. He had a chance. We saw a roadmap to victory with the Krypton gas in Batman versus Superman. And also, you know, a Krypton, like a Krypton knife. Like, he did not have a kryptonite knife. If he had a kryptonite spear, which in that movie there is one, if he had that, when he takes on Superman and really just uses it, he probably wins or messes Superman up bad. I mean, Batman in BVS does not make the best use of all of his kryptonite. He just doesn't.
What the hell does that mean?
Without the help of writers writing that thing in, like, does he really win? Do you think he can really beat...
At the same time, you could say the same thing about Superman. I don't know if that's the fairest way to go, Gabe.
Superman? Oh my god. Such a joke. Let me know. Thanks for watching.
Well, that's Gabe. It's called Why Batman is Overrated and You Need to Get Over It. And I don't know. I've done my best defending our pal, Batman. You know, certainly I don't consider Superman a problem or an enemy. I love Batman. I love Gotham. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. It's just a little bit of defense of one of our favorite superheroes. Certainly more of a favorite to me than Superman. No shade on Superman. He's fun, but I just personally like Batman better. So, a few minutes here in defense of Batman. Hope you enjoyed it. It's Admiral Teag. Please like or follow this video, and I'll see you around soon.
I am Batman!
Godspeed, Kevin Conroy.